Hello and welcome to another game analysis video. This time we've got some Necromantic against some Nurgle. Before we start, just like to say, if you end up enjoying this video, please always like and subscribe if you feel like it. And also there's a link to my Patreon page below, which you can check out if you want to see a list of all the articles and videos I've done all in one place. And you can also, sign up for coaching, or I can make a video of a game of yours if you like. Things like that. Lots of options there. Okay, let's get started. So, this is a one-game Necro team for me, so no extra skills, and I've got playing a Nurgle team with a few skills thrown in there. So I've got 3 block, 1 sure hands on a rotter, which is interesting. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so fairly standard defense, hiding the important agility 3 guys at the back here, so they can't get blitzed on turn 1. I decided to put the flesh golems on the line rather than the just all zombies. I felt it might help the guys survive, and they're probably going to do the same job on turn 2 as they would if they'd just been standing at their back, which is just to try and tie up some of these strength 4 guys. I'm not absolutely sure that's the right decision, but that's how I decided to go this game. Because he's got 4 strength 4 guys and 1 strength 5 guys, so I'm pretty outmuscled in this game. So I was hoping to use the stand firm of the flesh golems to try and tie up a few of the strength guys. So if I can get 3 or 4 strength 4 guys tied up against these 2 flesh golems, then that's a really good trade. And hopefully they'll survive. Okay, that's really nice advancement here down this, his left flank. He's taking his blitz, and he's also made it very difficult for me to blitz anybody on my turn. So on my turn, I'm always going to try and look to blitz the furthest forward guy, just to try and maintain the defense and stop him making any for forward momentum particularly. And as you can see here, these 2 strength 4 guys have got lots of assists around them, so that it's very, very difficult for me to get any blitz in here. So in the end, I thought long and hard about this turn actually. In the end, I decided to try and take a blitz with the werewolf over here. Just try and get some claw involved. Normally, it wouldn't be the greatest idea, I don't think, to move your faster players away from the action, because he's developing down this side of the pitch, and so blitzing on this side of the pitch isn't necessarily the greatest idea. But Nurgle are so slow that there should be some recovery power for my fast players, even in the event that things go wrong. Yeah, it's not 100% brilliant play. I've just played that very cautiously that turn. I've just decided that he's played a good turn, and so I'm just going to hover some guys around at the back here and just try and see what he does next turn. To try and get a little bit of a better grasp about who I'm playing and what sort of standard he is. I don't want to overcommit too much at this turn 1, and it's got a reasonable chance of not giving up too much position, given how slow the Nurgle are. So that's good. He's moving his player into a safe position, into a safe position before rolling too many dice or developing any blocks. Not 100% on that werewolf blitz, but it's the kind of thing where you do want to make some kind of positive action. It was really difficult decision actually. There was the chance of me just not making a blitz action that turn at all, just to hold my line, hold my position. But at the end, I decided to go for it. Okay, that's all good for my opponent there. He's developing some blocks there after he's got his safety lined up. And saving the big guy to last is also very, very sensible. Something you always want to line up. Okay, but this is what I mean about just holding off. So my opponent did a really good turn one, gave me very few options for blitzes, but by just hanging off a little bit and waiting a turn, I've now got opportunities to start throwing blocks back. So you'll often find that on turn one of a drive if you're playing against somebody any good. They're not going to give you too many opportunities on your turn one to do anything interesting, but if you just hold off, play a cautious turn on turn one, you can often find that the player gets just a little bit stretched, and then you can line up a couple of blocks of your own and start eking out a little bit of position. So that's what I'm doing here, just lining up a blitz with the block. In the middle here, because of how far back the ball carrier is, I'm not desperately worried about this guy, and it's quite difficult to try and get any kind of meaningful purchase on without running everyone away. So now that the ball carrier is here, I want to be a little bit more central with my players, and so I'm going to have to just leave this guy on his own and take the blitz in the middle, and just try and regain the centre ground. The purpose of this blitz is also that I could move over afterwards to give the assist for Judas Block up here. So that was something I planned out at the beginning of the turn. You could do both with this white, and that's a nice sort of thing you can try and get from your blitz actions. If you can get a blitz action to get a 2-dice block on its own and also move after the block for enabling another 2-dice block, it's always a very handy thing to do. Okay, and I'm just going to move this ghoul back here out of the firing line. I don't want him, he's got a couple of block players, so I don't have block. So I want to keep him reasonably protected if I can, and he's just there being mobile and looking to move in my turn 3. I thought long and hard about whether to do anything with this white here, but in the end decided that just making him roll this block is worth it. He's not going to blitz with this guy, and which means that if he blocks, he's not actually moving too much further forward with this guy. I don't want him to get too much of a beachhead in this part of the pitch. If I dodged away with this white, then he could just roll this guy over here maybe, or over here, and just build a really big, nice cage over this side if things go well. So just making him make that block just slows that side down a little bit, which is worth letting my player get hit for. Okay. Unfortunately, I get injured, but I mean, it doesn't change the decision. I still would have done it again, even knowing the results. You just still always make your decisions, accepting that worst case scenarios can happen. So my opponent's doing a good job here. You've noticed that I've, especially after injuring that white, I've only got 3 remaining agility 3 players, or fast players with movement over 4 left on the team, and they're on this side of the pitch. So he's very sensibly moving down this side instead, and using this blitz here to try and hold the centre as well to stop me getting round too easily. Luckily enough, boneheaded on this dude. That might give me a little bit of a chance. Lucky for me, my fast players are fast, and a lot faster than Nurgle, so I should be able to get round in time and defend. And a lot of my previous positional decisions were made with that in mind, with the idea that, you know, I wasn't going to be completely rendered out of position. So as always, just moving my dudes before I roll any dice. I decided that nice enough to get an injury back. That's cool. So I decided that with him making a break seemingly down this side of the pitch, I want to get my werewolf back involved in the play, and so this is where the blitz has been here. So although the blitz is far away, as you can see from, as you might imagine, sorry, from where the ball is and where the development is, it gets one of my better fast players back involved in the play, so it's still a positional block. It'll go for it there, and then that enables a 2 dice block on this guy, which that's a good turn for me. A couple of guys off the pitch, excellent, and that allows sets up another 2 dice block over here, which frees up a guy, which is excellent. Oh, it's done as well. So yeah, absolutely great turn for me. Very unlucky for the Nurgle. Effectively lost 4 players that turn. Didn't get the icing on the cake with that dodge, but I can't really complain. That was a great turn. Okay, so Nurgle looking a little bit short of numbers now. He's going to have to consolidate well here to try and regain position. I think this might have been a first slight error from the Nurgle coach. He's basically abandoning 4 of his high strength players over here, which is what I was trying to achieve when I left these flash columns here, just trying to suck those guys in. And it seems to have worked even better than I hoped, particularly with the stun there. That's just the icing on the cake. And this has left the ball carrier a little bit exposed. So yeah, Beast Nurgle, or Rat Spawn, whatever you want to call it, it's go down as well, so that's great. Definitely happy about that. And it looks like there might be a little bit of an opportunity for a blitz on the ball carrier here. So I think I'm going to take it. So you got this block here as a freebie. Well, not a freebie, but you can see what happens after the block. So if I don't get the a knockdown here, then I may try for a different plan. But at the moment, I'm going to go for the blitz on the ball carrier. So I've got 2 dice going into 1 with frenzy. So if I only get pushes, I'm going to have to roll. I'm going to have to push the guy here, assist each, and that's going to be a 1 dice. I think it's worth taking at this point. He is far enough forward that he can score next turn if I don't do anything. So I decided that whilst that is a risk, small risk, 2 dice on the ball. With the risk of going into 1 is worth taking at this point, so I will take it. And lucky enough, I get the knockdown, which is great. Really good bounce as well. Any bounces backwards is good. That's the reason I pushed him back here rather than back here. So I could have pushed him here, which is near more of my players, but there was a huge risk there that if I pushed the ball carrier here and the ball bounced out here, that's a really easy touchdown for this guy. He can just dodge out and pick up and run in. So unfortunately he had to go backwards and have the ball back here somewhere, even though that gives my opponent a lot better chance of recovering it next turn. Fail and foul appearance there to free this guy up, but that's not the end of the world. I'll definitely take it. Overall, a good turn. So my opponent's just going to have to consolidate, recover his position, and he does a good job of it here. Like I said, he's using his blitz to get 2 dice block and then move a guy over to create another 2 dice block, and also covering the ball as well, which is great. Good play. He's doing this first before these blocks over here, and you may think, well, why is that the right thing decision? Because you want to be making, blocks that have a positional value first before you make just blocks that don't do quite as much over here. So these blocks don't really achieve anything near as much as covering the ball do. But this guy's got loner, so he's going to have to make the block. The next block over here is going to be with loner, so it is the right decision to make these blocks first. So he gets the pal, that's cool. And then that sets up the other block here, which is good. That's a very well played turn from my opponent there. He's got a nice little bit of coverage on the ball. Obviously, he didn't want to lose it next turn, but he's done the best he can on this turn. I mean, this is a great position that you want on defence. You know, the play's ragged, balls on the floor. I mean, this is, as long as we can... yeah, unfortunately, I've immediately 181 at the start of my turn, which is horrible. 181 is bad enough in the first place, but when you do it first action of the turn, you're essentially giving your opponent 2 turns in a row, or better, because it knocks one of your players over as well. But there's nothing you can do about that. I don't think that there's really... Like, these 2 players on the floor here, and I could have stood them up, but I needed them to do other stuff. You can't plan for every dice roll you make to be a 181, and that's not a complaint. That's just a case of trying to think your turns through and do things in the right order. And sometimes the right order is, well, almost all the time, the right order is assuming that you won't catastrophically fail. You can plan to use a reroll, but if you assume every dice roll will be 181 or whatever, then you'll just defeat yourself. You'll be too passive. So I had to leave these guys over here on the floor. Well, I chose to, and I think that's still a right decision to make. You just have to take the time when you do roll the catastrophic dice. It's much better to leave this, hope for the push there, just on a normal situation, and then that allows me to do other stuff with these guys later in the turn. So potentially blitzing with this guy to stand up once I've moved some guys in to get the assists, but I needed to make this block to free up the guys for the assists. So that's fine, these things happen. This guy was going to dodge out because he's doing nothing over there, so that's why he's not stood up either. But that's fine. Sometimes these things happen. Hopefully the ball's still in a half safe position, so it won't be too bad if we are lucky. Yes, not ideal. But I definitely had my luck in the drive when I had that turn where I broke armor. Yeah, I'm not sure about this. To be honest, he might have been fine just keeping it in the cage over here. He's not really. Yeah, he's getting forward, and this is a good position from this guy. When you can't cage, screen. This is a great example of screening. He's just made it harder for me to dodge through and get the ball without necessarily having a full cage. And if you are in a position where your opponent's going to get a hit on the ball regardless, so even if he had left it there, I still could have got something on the ball probably. So if you are in a position where your opponent's going to get a hit on the ball regardless, it is better to be further forward than it is further back. So maybe that's a decision my opponent's made, and that might be reasonable in that case if he felt like he couldn't maintain a full cage somewhere. I'm reasonably happy with what these fresh columns have done. I was quite worried, particularly about the beast, or the rot spawn, whatever you call it. If he had tied up even one of my agility 3 players, maybe even got 2 of them, then that would have been a real pickle. If he could have tied up my fast players, I would have had a very hard job keeping up with the bash element of his team. So if he'd have tied up with tentacles, these 2 guys, for example, best case scenario for him, then zombies against Nurgle warriors is going to be horrible. So that's ended up being a good trade for me. So I'm happy with how that turned out. So, as a result of the last turn, he's played well, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of dice rolling here. But we're in a situation where if I don't do something, he's just going to score. Can't just be putting a tackle zone on the guy is not going to be good enough here. So I'm going to try something a little bit more difficult, which is a 1 dice block here to free up these 2 guys. And I was lucky enough to get the power, which makes it even easier to get the blitz and the surf. There were other opportunities to come round this side had I just got a push, but got the really good outcome and get to surf the ball, which is great. We'll take that, and then unfortunately the throw is not kind, but these things happen. Do these 2 go for it with this wolf here. I was the last action of the turn. You might as well. There's not a great deal of use of just standing there. If this was, if I had other players left to act, I probably wouldn't have made these go for it. Probably just sucked it up and left him there. He's got even 8, so he can recover. But because of where the ball's landed, it's a really nasty position for me. So I'm going to try and get as much pressure on this Pesticle here, who is the big danger guy who can score, as I possibly can. Even though he has movement 8, this guy's the fastest guy on the Nurgle team, movement 6, so there's a chance that if he dodges out and gets the ball, he can run over here and I can't catch him. So I do need to get back as far over this side as possible. Yeah, so no reels left for either team now. So quite reasonably, my opponent is leaving the dodge and pick up till last. Just trying to make it so that should it work, I have a lot harder job recovering. And this is really good. So we could have just dodged out and gone for it that way. He's actually going to dodge anyway, but he's included a blitz action as well, and he's done so on the danger guy, the guy that is a threat of catching him should he dodge out and get the ball successfully. So that's a lot of sense. That's a really good thing to do. Puts my guy back on the floor. Unfortunately, he gets the ball, but he does fall over on the go for it, which may not have been necessary. I may have just sucked up the action there and made my opponent roll dice. Well, in this case I'm the opponent, but it may have been better not just to stay on your feet there. Unfortunately, yeah. So 1 go for it there, and he would have been a real tough spot. He would, for scoring. But unfortunately, it's just going to be a 2 dice pushback and a 3 pick up to score. Which unfortunately he gets. That's not the end of the world. I felt like I did what I could in that drive, especially when you're playing with low TV teams. If things go a bit crazy like they did with the 181, then it can be very difficult to recover. I think 9 times out of 10, after I knock the ball over, he doesn't score there, at least. Unfortunately, this is the one time, but I think decision-wise, we've done what we can in that drive. So, my opponent played well. He scored his touchdown. That's cool. I got a gash turn, no injuries, no one-turner. So just move on to the second half.
One team is lighter, not a significant can impact the game.
There we go. Okie dokie. So, going into this half, it's 10 versus 10. If an early touchdown is available, I might think about taking it, but if not, I'll just take the draw, hopefully, if things work at this stage. It's just a case of seeing how my opponent defends. at this stage. Maybe we'll get a couple casualties and we'll think about it. So we set up here to get 2 dice blocks on each of these guys, and then we can blitz one of these guys at the corner and then get 2 dice on the beast as well. We've already got a tackle zone next to the ball, and none of the Nurgle guys can reach it, so we can go ahead and make our blocks without doing anything about the ball first. At this stage, so I made that block first, and then I moved this werewolf back after it worked. And the reason for that is I've decided that I'm going to come in here and blitz this guy, which is going to possibly free up this guy, and he could reach the werewolf and tag him. I don't want that happening. I don't want my I don't want one of my remaining 3 agility 3 players tagged up quite easily. So if I move him 1 square back, then that stops him getting tagged next turn. But I did that after the block, just to check that it'll work. So I'm just moving this guy to settle the assist for the block on the ball beast later. Well, that's cool. Lovely KO there. We'll take that. And then, a couple more of those, and we might start thinking about an early score maybe. But we'll see how things develop. Which is fine here. It still allows the 2 dice on the beast, but the foul appearance. But fine. You know, it's not been too disastrous with those. And we got the ball, so that's great. I'm very much happy with the pickup there. Opponent's getting stuck in here, which is a good idea with Nurgle, especially against rookie opposition without the skills to really punish you or get out of jail particularly well. So putting a good pressure on here. So this is also something that's quite nice. If you blitz somebody and you don't let them down, you can just get a lot of pressure on this one guy and stop that being a weak point for me to break through. So if you've just got 2 guys on here, then there's potential for me to move and assist in, blitz one of them, and then lock the other one, and then suddenly I'm opening up this whole flank. By putting 3 guys on here, he's stopping that happening. He's pressuring this corner quite well. There's no chance of me making a breakout this turn down here, so that's good play. As always, possibly could have shoved those guys into contact first, but maybe wanted to see what happened with this block. So that's fine. And blocking with the beast last, always good. If you're going to block at all, there's potential for maybe not blocking at all with that guy there. If he'd have both down there, that would have opened up a lot of opportunities for me to re-establish a lot of strength in the middle of the pitch here. I could have blocked over these 2 guys and formed a cage in the middle. So there was a potential here for not blocking with that Beast of Nurgle. But, you know, definitely not 100% yes or no thing. It's definitely a judgment call. So finally got another opportunity to try and get that claw working on the armor 9, so I have gone for that, keeping position in mind. I built in a fail-safe in case I fail this foul appearance with the block with this zombie, which isn't the greatest of turns here, so failure and a push, but instead of caging, I've just used the slow movement of the Nurgle to put my ball carrier here, so I've counted the range from these 2 guys, made sure that I can't be reached, and then I can just use a small screen here to stop that happening. There is a little bit of a danger of this Nurgle warrior dodging out, so 4+, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could take a 4+ for a 1 dice, or a 4+ and 2 go for it for 2 dice, because he hasn't been knocked down. I kind of have to leave that. I've had 2 blocks at hitting him and not knocked him down, which is fine, you know, these things happen. And as a result, that's left that opportunity on. But, you know, you have to... I've tried, it's not worked, and then we just have to see if my opponent takes it. Just going to try and block this guy, that's important, so he can't free this guy up. So, do get that push down, which is great. I'll take that. Unfortunately, another foul appearance there, but these guys are reasonably secure. We can hold this middle ground with Stand Firm and everything, so it should be able to come through the middle. So yeah, my opponent didn't take on that dodge to go on the ball, and I think that's probably the right decision, given that he's 1-0 up. He's got two. He did got rear off the kickoff, so it is a tempter. But I guess he's thinking, I'm 1-0 up. I'm going to make my opponent roll dice, and that's a perfectly reasonable way to go about things. If he was chasing the game, that's an option that you may want to grab and go for immediately and think, this is my opportunity, this is my in. But playing a bit more cautious is absolutely fine, especially since I've got reasonably slow team with the whites out as well. So I've come down this side with all of my few fast players, with the potential of a breakaway down here and maybe an early touchdown. But my opponent has spotted that, noticed that that's an option, and has very sensibly got these two guys back to cover the opportunity. I don't really have the pace to cage or screen properly here, so I'm probably going to have to come back around the middle and then go for the slow score and the draw. So bad luck for my opponent there. He's 1-9 and he's injured one of his armor 9 strength 4 guys. But by playing well and moving these two to go back to cover, he's probably got the draw secured anyway. At worst, I'm a couple of guys up now, through no fault of my opponent, just through dice. But he's done the right things. He's made the right decisions, and he's put himself in a position where worst case scenario is still going to be a draw. So well played for him. That does open opportunities round this side, so I'm just going to run everyone back over here. Make a little cage. So the idea here was to blitz with this guy, and then move him round for up into here maybe. Maybe even move around here and take a 1 dice on the beast to maybe get 2 dice here, but it has not worked, but that's fine. Cannot complain after the last turn where he killed one of his own guys. This is one of the frustrations with Nurgle for my opponent, which is because they're so slow, you get a little bit of bad luck on the injuries as he has here, then you can find your players a little bit out of position. These guys are still very happy, just tying up the beast and stopping, particularly on my drive. Keeping this beast away from the ball is just absolutely vital. So I'm quite happy to trade these off. Went for another blitz with the werewolf. Can't try and get his claws on this guy next to the ball, but unfortunately failed appearance again. But that's fine. The other guy has blocked him. Unfortunately, that slows down my drive a little bit, so I'm just going to have to take another casual turn. So what happened there was that I took a 1 dice here on this Nurgle warrior. Fairly safe cage-wise, so I decided to take that on. A little bit of a nibble. I've got 3 rerolls left, so if I roll the skull, if I fail the fair appearance, I don't re-roll it. If I roll the skull, I can re-roll it. Lucky enough, I got the POW, which is great. And then that gives me the opportunity to move the ball carrier over a little bit. So I just had that little shot to nothing, just to see whether it would work, and then make the decision about the ball carrier position afterwards. Again, just not throwing blocks with these these flesh golems. My opponent has been throwing 1 dice blocks occasionally with his strength 4 guys, and that makes sense because he wants to get rid of these guys because they're annoying him. But as the one being the annoyance, I'm just going to leave them there and not do blocks with them until a situation where it's of value. Yeah, this is a mistake, I think. This positioning of this ball carrier, I should have put him here instead. My team is so slow that I can afford to be slightly further back with the ball carrier because this zombie's not going to get far enough forward for it to matter. So I should have just placed him back here so that this blitz from the Nurgle warrior wasn't going to get in contact with the ball. So yeah, definitely a mistake there from me. Little positional error that could cost me. I mean, I can still 2 dice blitz him away, but that is, you know, that's sucking up players and assists, it's slowing down my drive. So, you know, best case scenario for me is I'm just consolidating again this turn. As you can see, I spotted my mistake and moved the ball carrier back immediately. But it's cost me a turn of advancement. This is very minor positional area. That's cost me a whole turn just to recover from that very small thing. If that hadn't happened, there was a chance I could have just like burst through here, maybe a blitz in the ball carrier, and ended up over here somewhere. But as it is, I have not. Had to suck up that block with the werewolf, unfortunately, just to stop him getting near the ball. Yeah, and 1 dice spot for my opponent, but it's with a bot player. He's leaving it for last. Absolutely, perfectly reasonable. Nice little move back there from here. He's obviously just measured where some of my players can reach, particularly this guy. So in my turn, I was thinking next turn I can 1, 2, 3, 4, go for it, and then maybe mark this guy. And I guess my opponent spotted that and moved him back 1 square, the sweeper, so that I can't mark him as easily, and so he's going to be free to do whatever he wants next turn. So yeah, very sensible. So yeah, just going to try and make a breakaway this turn. Since I can't reach my opponent, so I can't reach the sweeper here, I'm just going to not do any go for it at all with him. And then just lining up an assist for a later block here I will do, but it's not vital, so I won't do it yet. And blitzing with the war carrier is never something you want to rely on. It's always a little bit of a risk, but I'm in a position where I'm going to have to do that this turn if I want to make any kind of advancement. My team's so slow that I need to be somewhere forward 3 turns out. I can't just completely rest on my laurels. And then I've got 3 rolls in the bank, so I decided that it's time for a few dodges and go for it, just to try and get anywhere near forward into my opponent's half. And because that went well, I was afforded the opportunity to make this dodge as well. So I've counted out this guy. He can't reach my ball carrier without a dodge. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's the eye position of this screen is here, and then the white is here at the back because this guy can dodge round. So he could free up him, and he could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go for it to hit. So he could have blocked, could have blitzed the ball carrier. So that's why the white's there, to protect that from happening. I'm now happy to take this 2 dice block on. I'm taking these blocks on because even if I double skull, I'm not freeing up the beast, so that's the big worry still. Always don't let the beast get near the ball carrier. But I'm now in a position where I can take these blocks on, and even if I double skull, even if I quad skull, it's still marking out the beast. Again, same with this. It's a 1 dice, but it's a 1 dice to nothing. You know, it's a free shot. Even if I skull, it's still marked by this guy. And that frees him up quite nicely with a push, even. Lucky enough to get the power, so that's good. Yeah, very lucky for my opponent. He does his. He gets a 181 as well. So 1 each. Slightly different situations. I think I'm probably going to score even if he doesn't do that. But yeah, definitely take it. That is A-OK. Because my team's quite slow and spread out, I'm not going to be able to really form a perfect cage. So I'm just going to, without making any dice rolls. So I'm going to do a slightly wider cage here instead. So I've used my blitz to free up this werewolf to form the final corner of this very, very spread out cage. But yeah, rerolls to burn now. Yeah, there's no point. Might as well just take it rather than just wait and see. Yeah, again, you know, that's a block I wouldn't have taken on 4 turns ago, but there's no real risk to it now. So just have a little nibble, see what happens. My opponent just goes for the 4 up 5 up for 2 dice on the ball, which, you know, why not? Throw it worth a go. Just blitzing someone off and tagging him, it's not going to work at this stage. He's unlucky enough to get injured, but he does regen, so I'm glad for him. And then, in my final turn, I will just score. And that'll be that. 1-all. Nurgle don't get a 1-turner, unsurprisingly. So that's it. 1-all for the game. My opponent played well. And I think there's some reasonable Blood Bowl that actually happened in that game, so that's great. So I hope you enjoyed this. As always, please like and subscribe if you did. And hopefully see you again next time.